expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like and share them on Facebook and YouTube and other social media. It's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show with the one and only Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. And this is, I know you're listening to this show on Saturday and Sunday following St. Patrick's Day. And I just want to go on record as saying we are actually recording this on St. Patrick's Day. So I have my green background and I have my Let the Shenanigans Begin t-shirt on, and that's why. So happy weekend after St. Patty's Day to you as well. And we're glad you're here with us today. Our guest today has been on the show with us before, and she's awesome. She's with the St. Lucie County Fire District, and her name is Stacy Carter. Stacy?
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to be here today, Sue Ellen.
Great. And you as the fire district educator, your job pre-pandemic was to go into schools and to talk to groups and to share information about fire safety with the general population and with children. And you've kind of had to adapt. Well, you definitely have had to adapt with the pandemic. I mean, there's been a lot of changes, but you had to kind of regroup and change everything. And that's why you'll see on an additional screen, if you're watching this as a video, you'll see Stacy's brought up the St. Lucie County Fire District's website, so she can kind of talk us through and walk us through the new virtual classrooms. Now, if you're listening to this on the radio and you're driving down the street, then at your convenience, you can just mosey on over to YouTube following the show and check it out there, because Cliff will post a video of the show and it will include the information. Or you can simply go to St. Lucie County Fire District and click on the virtual classroom. Stacy, you want to talk a little bit about what they'll find?
Sure, absolutely. Well, like you said, Sue Ellen, due to the pandemic, we had to think of different ways that we were still going to be able to get the fire and life safety information out to our community in St. Lucie County. So with the pandemic, every year I have to do continuing education credits and classes to keep my certification current and in date. This year, I wasn't able to go to the conference to do that. So what we did was we had the conference virtually online. And with it being virtual, we got to meet with different presenters that I would have never met, from North Carolina and from Alabama. And there was a presenter there at the conference who was from North Carolina. Her name is Bree Duggins, and she did a wonderful presentation on how to make a virtual classroom using Google. So the classrooms that you will see today are filled with fire and life safety information. And what I did was I took topics that I most would get asked about when I was out in the community at events. So you're going to see in our room some of those topics that are most commonly asked about. Our rooms, we have them in English, Spanish, and in Creole so that we could reach a wider demographic. And I'll take you into our first room. This is our English classroom.
Let's back up just a second and just talk about where on the St. Lucie County Fire District website you find the virtual classes.
Sure, absolutely. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to our website. And I know for those of you that are listening in the car, you're not able to do that right now. But when you are, I'm going to give you the website address, and I'm going to make it easy for you to remember. Our website address is www.s for Saint, L for Lucy, C for county, F for fire, D for district.com. So you'll go to our website. Right underneath the fire engine, you're going to see an icon that's going to say virtual classrooms. So you will click on the virtual classroom icon and you will see virtual classroom in English, Spanish, and Creole. And you will also see, which were just released on Monday, our natural disaster classrooms as well. And I'll talk a little bit about those after we get through these classrooms. So as you can see, we're in a room. There's a bulletin board. There are 4 safety topics on the board. We have general fire and life safety. This is a room for adults. We also have fire safety for kids. We have fire safety for seniors because we know that statistics show us that our senior population and our children are most affected by fire. We also have a safety awareness room that is updated every month with a new topic or theme that we want to bring awareness to. This month, it is the month of March. It's leaving pets and children in hot vehicles alone. So I'll take you into that room in a moment and we'll talk about that. Next month, it will be drivers who may be occupied with their texting and cell phones and things like that. We want to bring awareness to that as well for the month of April. So what we'll do right now is at the top of the bulletin board, you're going to see general fire safety. You click on general fire safety, and then it's going to take you into a virtual classroom. So in this classroom are those topics that I talked about that people ask me a lot of questions about. One of them being electrical safety in your home. So if we go back, that for some reason that was really sensitive and popped me into the seniors room there. But if we go back, you're going to see electrical safety in the home, and it's going to talk about safety tips. So one of the issues with electrical safety in the home is having your electrical wires running under carpets. What happens is over time, you're walking on top of those cords and they're getting frayed underneath there, and that can easily start a fire. Another tip is not to overload.
Wait, before you move on from that one. So they're getting frayed because you're walking on top of the carpet, but part of the danger is because they're underneath the carpet, you don't see that they're getting frayed. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's true. And a lot of times around the holidays, people like to run their Christmas lights around their doors. And we've seen where the string of Christmas lights has gotten stuck in the door. And every time they're opening and closing that door, it's pinching that wire. And so those wires are getting broken, and that can actually start a fire.
Ooh.
Another thing, did you want to say something, Sue Ellen?
No, that's because that's something that probably happens to everybody a little bit.
Right. And it's just something, to think about and to be cautious and aware. Another thing is overloading those electrical outlets at home or overloading the power strips, the power cords. You don't want to overload them because they get overworked and they can spark, and that can cause a fire. Another one of our topics, as you can see, carbon monoxide poisoning. A lot of new cars are coming out with the push start ignitions, and they're very quiet. And a lot of times people, did I shut the car off? They can't hear it. So they have to, really think about that before they're pulling it in the garage and closing the garage door, because carbon monoxide, it's an odorless, you can't smell it, you can't see it, gas. And what it actually does is it depletes the oxygen in your body. It gets into your bloodstream. And so that oxygen, we know through our blood, it moves to our organs. So it's depleting that so that blood cannot get to your organs, and it can cause death. So when they click on the icon, the danger carbon monoxide, what they're going to see is a video that's provided by the National Fire Protection Association, and it's all about the dangers of carbon monoxide. And that is what will happen when they click on the different icons.
So how can you make sure, for example, when you pull your car in the garage, if you have one of those push button automatic, how can you be sure that your car is completely turned off? And even though it's sitting in the garage, really realizing that it's still affecting you inside the house.
Well, you have to get a carbon monoxide detector. You can have one. We have one in our home. It's right in the kitchen hallway, which is connected to the garage. So if there is any carbon monoxide that's getting into our home, that's going to alert us and let us know. And just like we have one that plugs directly into our outlet, but you can also get a smoke alarm and a carbon monoxide combination alarm. And those require the batteries to be replaced. We just sprang forward last weekend. So springing forward, changing the time on your clocks, and when we fall back in the fall is a good way to help you to remember to change those batteries in your smoke alarms and in your carbon dioxide alarms.
My batteries always seem to be needed changing at 2 o'clock in the morning when it starts beeping. But when it starts beeping, that means it's definitely low. And if you change it every 6 months, you should never get those beepings, right?
Absolutely. And then every 10 years, Sue Ellen, they should be replaced. And the reason for that is because dust and different particles can get inside of them and they can cause them to malfunction, or they can cause them to start making nuisance alarms. So they definitely need to be replaced every 10 years. And that's something that the National Fire Protection Association recommends.
Okay, so one of the best ways then to protect from carbon monoxide poisoning is to have that detector. So in addition to a smoke detector, or have a combination uh, device, and make sure you place it in a place where it will detect carbon monoxide, because as you said, every year we read about situations where entire families or people died because they didn't know that they were overnight being poisoned. They went to sleep, and with the carbon monoxide in the air, when they woke up, well, they didn't wake up. And that's so sad when it's so preventable. Um, and there's a device that makes it easy to do. I know a lot of people say, well, I have a smoke detector. Do I need a carbon monoxide detector too? But obviously you do.
Yes, absolutely. And especially during hurricane season, when we run our generators, it's always good to have a battery operated carbon monoxide detector during those times. And your generator should never be brought indoors. It always needs to be in a well ventilated area, and it should always be at least 5 feet away from any surface.
And scarily, we're not all that far now away from hurricane season.
Right. And
Um,
hurricane season starts June 1st.
yeah.
So we have, and I'll show you in just a moment, our natural disaster room that has everything to prepare you for hurricane season this year.
So there is a video now for all of these things, all of the learning activities, and especially for either kids or seniors. And those are the ones that seem to be most effective with safety concerns. So while your kids and now your seniors have gotten to be a lot more literate in using the computer, and so this is just one more way that they can get the information that they need. And I have to point out, in this Welcome to Miss Stacy's Fire and Life Safety classroom at the very beginning, there's a cute little icon that looks like Miss Stacy. And then there's a dog next to it. Is that the fire dog, or is that your real dog?
Yes, that's my Bitmoji. And that's why it sort of kind of looks like me. And then we love animals here at the fire district. So of course we had to include our fire dog, Cammy. That's actually a real picture above the
Ah,
animated dog of Cammy.
I
Cammy
see.
just celebrated her 4th birthday yesterday. We've had her here at the fire district. She is our canine accelerant detection dog. We've had her now for 2 years, and she's absolutely amazing. And this, if you click on the photo of Cammy, you will actually see a video of her and her canine handler, Joe. And it talks to you about how we acquired Cammy and how she benefits us here at the fire district. And if you click on the animated dog, you will see pet fire safety tips from the National Fire Protection Association.
Well, let's just assume that we're in this website and we're clicking away. What are some of the tips that we're likely to see about pet safety tips?
Right, well, some of the pet safety tips that you will see, and I can actually click on the animated dog and whoop, it's very sensitive and it's wanting to go to the seniors room. So but one of the tips I can just tell you, one of the tips would be to you never want to leave candles unattended, but especially if you have pets or small children. Some cats and dogs are notorious for knocking things over. I don't know if you've seen the video. It has been online of the candle garden that a family left on their coffee table, and the cat jumped up on the coffee table. The dog was kind of not really chasing the cat, but going after the cat. And the poor cat jumped up there and its tail swiped the candle, and the poor cat, its tail caught on fire. And the owners of the home, there was a camera in the living room. They walk right past it, never even knowing that the poor cat's tail is on fire. And then the cat ended up, putting the fire out itself. But candles are very dangerous. And the National Fire Protection Association would recommend just getting the battery operated candles. They have some now that smell like your real vanilla candle.
Yeah. Or just create a situation where you always blow out your candles. Now, there's kind of that in between the electric things, the things that are like Scentsy candle stations and wax melts and stuff like that. How safe are those to leave on when you're not home?
Is it I'm sorry, is it a burning candle?
No, it's the electrical things that you plug in and then you turn on, and it's got a light bulb underneath it.
Right, kind of like an air freshener type of thing?
Yeah, but it's a freestanding thing that's got a tray with a wax. You can put wax melts in it and stuff like that. Or you can put a candle on top of it, but it's electric and it melts the wax from the outlet.
Right, I understand, like a warmer, a scent
Yes,
warmer.
exactly.
Yes, yes. I would not leave those plugged in. Everything should be licensed by a company such as UL. It has to go through testing and regulations. But because I work in the fire service and because I'm aware of incidents that happen, I unplug just about every appliance in my kitchen. Keurig teapot before I leave the house. I think
Really?
yes, I do. I do. And you can also save on your electric bill. Even though you don't have an appliance that's running, but it's plugged in, it's still draining electricity from your sockets.
Really?
Yes.
And so just kind of on the side note there, moving to the side, let's talk about some of the other things you shouldn't leave on when you leave the house or when you go to bed at night. And one of the ones that I think of offhand is not leaving my dryer on. Why is that?
Absolutely not, Sue Ellen. And in the adult room that we were just in, there's actually a video that talks about dryer safety, and you never want to leave that running because it could cause a fire. You should always have your dryer vents cleaned yearly, and you should always clean the vent that's located inside of the door every time you use the dryer. And when you want to find a professional vent dryer cleaner, but you also want to make sure that your flap is working to your dryer so that those contents are being expelled and they're not getting crammed up in there. And you'll know when it's time for your dryer to be clean because normally your clothes aren't drying as quickly as they used to.
So when your clothes on a regular basis aren't drying as quickly as you're used to them drying, that's time to have your dryer vent clean. If you've got a handy husband, like I do, can he clean it, or does it need to be done by a professional?
Well, the National Fire Protection Association recommends that a professional clean it. But I'm glad you brought up what things you could turn off or do at night before you go to sleep. There's been a study out, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's called Close Before You Doze.
Yes, that was
Yes.
fascinating to me because all my life I've closed my bedroom door before I went to sleep. And people made fun of me for it, but now actually there's studies out that show that there's a major difference. And if there's a fire in your home, in in you preventing uh, serious damage and injury and death if your door is closed. Let's talk about that.
Yes, the UL, they actually have a home, and there is a video on YouTube. It's called Life Saving Escape. It was a episode that was on Good Morning America, and it's a demonstration of how to escape a home fire. And in that video, they show you they have two rooms that are filled with the exact same contents. One room, the door is closed. The other room, they left the door open. And once the fire is extinguished, they go back and they open the doors to both rooms, and they let you see the damage of leaving your bedroom door open. No one in the home that they did the demonstration on would have survived in that bedroom where the door was open. But where the door was closed, they probably would have gotten a really bad headache. They probably would have felt a little confused, but they would have been able to survive had they had closed the door.
So we're talking about open doors or closed doors. Is there a compromise? What if, you have little kids and they want the door open a little bit? Is that better than nothing at all?
I would not do that because the reason why we close the door is you want to prevent the smoke from getting into the room and the
Mhm.
flames from getting in the room. So you want to keep that door closed all the way.
So, if you have little kids and you're listening to this, or little grandkids, you could just invest in a little night light for them instead, and explain to them that it's safer for them to have the door closed. Uh, but it's funny because that's something that I've always done, and I really felt validated when I saw the information from that study. So close before you doze.
Yes.
Close your door before you go to sleep at night, um, and then don't go to sleep with your dryer running, or leave the
Right.
house with your dryer running, because even if you've changed the vent on a regular basis, sometimes the older dryers, there might be a spark that catches fire. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Uh,
So, Sue Ellen, the room that you're actually looking at now is our senior room. So all of the contents in this room are especially for seniors. And you'll see that we have a Remembering When program. This is a fire and fall prevention program for older adults. And last year, we ran over 2,600 public assist calls. So those were calls where someone had fallen and they needed us to help them. And one of the tips that I would like to mention is if you have an older senior in your family, is to make sure that they have the socks that are the no slip socks. Most of our seniors are falling because of just wearing the regular socks. Another thing too is to make sure your seniors, your loved ones, have grab bars in their bathroom, around the tub, around the toilet. Believe it or not, but these come in very, very handy. Most of the falls occur at night. So if you're a senior and you're home and your loved one is there with you, you could always wake them up, let them know I'm going to the bathroom, so that they'll know that you made it back to your bed safely.
And also, as you pointed out, the no skid socks, and I just want to say that that's probably not just important for seniors, because I know middle-aged people that have fallen down flights of stairs. Okay, yeah, it was me when I was middle-aged, because I slipped in my socks, especially if the stairs are not carpeted and they're wood or they're tile.
Right, absolutely. So be very, very careful about that. If you're a senior and you live by yourself, or you have a senior parent or aunt or uncle that lives by themselves, it's always a good idea to invest in an alert system. So the necklace that you wear that has the push button, where you can get emergency help quickly,
Yeah,
and
I'm falling
also
and I can't get up kind of thing.
yes, yes, absolutely. A medical alert system. And also we have something in St. Lucie County. I know for those of you that are driving, you can't see this brochure that I'm holding up, but I'm going to explain to you what it is. This is a Knox box. And what a Knox box does is we have them for residential homes, and you call the Knox box number and order your Knox box, and you can store your home key inside of the box, and only the fire district has the key that will open the box. So if you live alone or you have health conditions, and we're coming out to your home, you have to place a call to 911. It will be key coded for St. Lucie County. And when you order it, our dispatchers will know, and they will have the information that you have a Knox box on your home. So our responders, they're going to know that you have one, and they're going to use their key to open it up and come into your home to help you. This way they don't have to, break a door to get in, or break a window to get in. And this is called a Knox box. And you can call, I'll give you the number. It's 1-855-438-5669. And they also have a website. It's knoxhomebox.com.
Okay, but you can look up Knox, and that's spelled Knox.
Yes.
So you can look it up. You can just Google it. But or call or use the website Stacy was describing. But not only would that save the money and the effort of them not knocking your door down, but also the time that it would take to get through that door. And if you've called 911 and you need help and you can't get to the door, then this is obviously, if you need help, you probably can't get to the door. And it's a peace of mind type of situation, because the fire district will be able to get in. That's a great idea. I'd never heard of that before.
Yes, especially if you have an older loved one that you're concerned about, and maybe you're not able to get over to them, every day. This would be a great thing for them to have.
So I'm going to tell you a quick little story about a friend of mine's father who was very independent, and he was not that old. He was like in his 70s at the time, but he had one of those easy chairs that have the holes in them, in the middle of them, for the joints. And he caught his leg when he was getting up in that joint, and it tripped him and he fell with his leg caught in the chair, and he wasn't able to get up and he wasn't able to get to help, and he did live alone. And so he was, by the time someone got to him, he had obviously, he was near death because he hadn't eaten or drank anything in a long time, but he also cut the circulation off on his leg so long that he ended up having to have his leg amputated, even though he did survive. So that was a really scary story for me with the
Absolutely.
easy chairs. So many of us now have even the types of couches where you push a button or you pull a lever and your the footrest comes out, but you never think about the fact that you could get caught in that mechanism easily.
Right, right. And that's where the emergency alert button, would have been, great for him to have had.
Yes. And as it was just a neighbor had come over when they didn't see him come out to get his paper. It was back in the day where people went out front to get their papers still.
Right.
And he hadn't come out in a couple of days, and so they called my friend, and she called emergency, and they discovered him. So it was definitely a scary situation, and that type of thing can happen too, even short term, even if, and it could happen when you're not that old, but it could happen when one spouse goes up to bed before the other spouse too. So
Absolutely.
there are a lot of different safety measures like this that, I know you call them senior safety, but they're really good safety measures for anybody, or just people who are accident prone, let's call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the safety room as well, it talks about emergency preparedness. So it gives you great tips for hurricane, for wildfires. It also puts you in contact with other resources as well.
Okay, so you get tips on all of those things in that safety room.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And I wanted to share the kids' room with you. Um, see if I can.
So this interactive website is actually a classroom which takes the place of Stacy going out and talking to groups. But while you're navigating that, Stacy, let's
Yes,
talk a little bit about what is still going on at the fire district that people can access. I know right now your open houses are on hold. Uh,
that is correct.
uh, so
We've had we've had other organizations that have asked us to participate with them in doing events, and so we are participating with other organizations at this time. We have a safety festival that's coming up on April the 24th. You can Google it and find out the exact times for that. But we will be out there. Cami, our arson dog, will be there as well. And she always loves to do a demonstration for the public. So she'll be there. We're also going to have a burn trailer there. So what we do with the burn trailer is kind of like the UL house. We set it up with furniture, and we have pretty much the exact same furniture in both rooms, and we light it on fire, and we show the difference between a home just having a smoke alarm or a home having a sprinkler system and smoke alarms. So with the sprinkler system and the smoke alarms, you have over an 80% chance of survival. With the regular smoke alarm, you have a 50% chance of survival, and we'll show you the difference.
And also, you're talking about some of the things that you're doing instead of the open houses, at both the early learning coalitions. There are drive-through events that are coming up. One on March 27th at Kaiser University parking lot in the morning, and the other one on April 10th in the Percy Peak parking lot next to the Zora Neale Hurston Library on Avenue D. There's going to be a drive-through event with 15 different stations, and one of the stations will be St. Lucie County Fire District, and you can pick up information there. And one of the fire engines is going to be at each location as well. So some kids just get so excited seeing the fire engine, and they'll be there, and some of the firefighters will be out, and you can pick up a whole packet of great safety information and find out about what your kids can do, and what you can do to stay safe.
Okay, so I've pulled up our kids' classroom, and in our kids' classroom, it's filled with ebooks and educational videos. So with the ebooks, we have one, Annie Makes a Plan from the National Fire Protection Association, and it teaches children how to make a home fire escape plan, to know 2 exit ways out, to have a safe meeting place outside away from danger, to call 911. And these books are also printable if the child or the parent would like to print them out. There's also an educational video about the history of firefighters and the future of firefighting, which is a really cool video to watch. There's also a fire that talks about the Chicago fire that happened, and that was in 1871. And that fire that happened, it actually changed the whole fire service and the way we look at regulations for buildings and streets. So that's a very interesting video to watch. And then over here in the corner behind my Bitmoji, there is a fire safety quiz that children can take. So they can test their knowledge and skills in fire safety. And down on the floor, you see the rescue truck, the ambulance. In the ambulance is a tour of Station 14. So if you're interested in touring the fire station, you can click on our rescue truck. And our fire engine is an engine demo of engine 11 at Station 11. So if you're interested in going on a little tour, seeing what's on the fire engine, all the different tools and equipment that firefighters use, that's a good one to watch. And I'll take you back out, and I'm not sure how much time we have left, but we have our disaster awareness classrooms, our natural disaster awareness classrooms, and we were talking about hurricane season that's going to be approaching us. We also have a flood room, so you'll find information about floods, extreme heat, and wildfires. And in these rooms, I gathered the information from the National Weather Service, the Weather Channel, FEMA. So some of our top organizations are ready.gov. So we'll click on the hurricane room right up at the top. And as you can see, we have the different tips. So we have generator safety tips. We have safety tips from the American Red Cross. If you click on the St. Lucie County icon, that's going to take you directly to the St. Lucie County Emergency Disaster Preparedness. So you'll be able to find evacuation routes, shelters that are available to you right here in St. Lucie County. The radio will take you to the National Weather Service radio station so you can get updates. And the television will take you to a local television station, WPTV News Channel 5. And if you click on our fire dog, it will take you to how to prepare, or a little video on how to prepare your pets for hurricanes and all the supplies that you need for them. And then one of the topics that we were really trying to get awareness out in the community is about leaving your hurricane shutters up after the storm passes. And it's very, very dangerous to do this because if there were a fire in your home, it would actually block our egress way of getting in, but also your egress way of getting out. And we want to be sure that you can get out of your home safely, that your pets are able to get out, and that we can get in. So that's a video that talks about, the dangers of leaving your hurricane shutters up. And we have lost loved ones here in St. Lucie County and loved pets in St. Lucie County because of hurricane shutters still being up on the windows. And the city of Port St. Lucie has an ordinance that you should remove your shutters within 14 days after a storm passes and there's no imminent threat of a hurricane out there in the Atlantic approaching us. So
Okay.
that's a great video to watch.
And that's great. And this website is awesome. But if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to stop sharing the screen right now.
Okay.
And talk about what's there instead of taking us on a guide through this screen, since we want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's there and talk about some of the tips instead of just telling people to look for the tips. So there's a lot of great information on this, and we appreciate all the time and effort that it took for you to gather all this information. If people want to reach out to you, are you still doing any type of school activities or activities for condo associations or homeowners associations? If people want to have, information, or do you just refer everybody at this point to the website?
You can absolutely always visit our website. If you'd like to do a Zoom fire safety presentation, you can always schedule that through me.
So
But
that's something that could be personalized as a Zoom
yes,
presentation. Okay.
absolutely. Yes, I've done a few of those. But right now, our goal is to keep everyone safe. So we want to keep our community safe. We want to keep our firefighters safe. So right now, the best way to get in touch with me is through my email address. That's scarter@slcfd.org if you would like to set up a fire and life safety presentation through Zoom. And
Right.
we hope, Sue Ellen, as the vaccinations are happening, that we'll be able to resume our normal operation schedule, hopefully by the end of the summer, early fall.
And that's great. So let's just talk too then about some of the other safety measures too that people need to be aware of. And I know with hurricane season coming up, some of the main things to consider are generator safety, as we addressed already, and then not leaving your hurricane shutters up. But there are other safety measures. I read something just the other day about a friend of a friend who, after one of the hurricanes, was waiting in one of the streets because she was trying to get somewhere, not that she was playing. Although after every hurricane, you do see kids playing in the streets. And evidently she had an open cut and she got sepsis from the water from the flooded street after the hurricane. And unfortunately, because her body wasn't aware till it was too late that it had something going on, she actually ended up paralyzed for like 6 weeks and had to work her way back to full recovery. But after every hurricane or big storm, I always see kids playing in the streets. And there's a number of different reasons other than sepsis that's dangerous. Can you address that at all?
Right. You're absolutely right, Sue Ellen. It's extremely dangerous because you've got to think after we have a hurricane, there are live wires, electrical wires that are down. And, water is a conductor for electricity. So you have to be concerned about electrocution. You also have to be concerned not only about the bacteria in the water, because if you think about it, if you live in an area that has a septic tank, there could be bad E. coli bacteria in that water, just like you said, your friend got the infection. You also want to think about the dangers of our wildlife being in that water moccasins, small alligators.
Yes.
People just don't think of these things, but
Yeah.
they are there. And it's just about getting, and a lot of times, we just not working in the fire service, or not hearing about this, prior to knowing. They don't know, so they send the children out, they're having fun, but you have to be aware of all those dangers that are out there.
And you said on your website right now, one of the things, the safety information are about children and pets in cars. And that's something you still, we're blessed with our weather right now. I mean, it is just beautiful, but the sun is out, and during the heat of the day, it's already getting hotter. And it's only going to get hotter now until October, sometimes November. Any time of year, leaving a child or a pet in the car is a dangerous practice.
Right. Absolutely. On an 80-degree day, I think the high today was supposed to be 87, but on an 80-degree day, within 10 minutes, your temperature in your car can rise 22 degrees. So it's really just, people don't realize that. And so it's really just getting that information out there and making them aware. And that's what we're trying to do this month.
And people, there are people that are very close with their pets too, and they like to take them everywhere with them. And they don't think twice about leaving them in the car. Um, but pets can't tell you when they're overheating, and they don't have the ability to to you know get in or get out or call for help, or so that's just as dangerous a situation as having a child in the car, or pets in the car. If you think, if you're gonna, some people think with a kid or an animal that if you crack the window it's going to be okay.
Yeah. And no, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Pets have heat stroke the same way that humans do.
So what are some of the other safety issues that you are asked a lot of questions about?
Well, I just want to go back to leaving the children in hot cars. Some of the things that you can do is to maybe place a bag in the back, or your cell phone in the back where your child sits. Because you're not going to walk out of your car and forget your bag that you need to take into the office with you. So we want to make sure that people remember to, look in the back before you lock your doors. That's a slogan, look before you lock. So place something that you need to take into the office with you in the back seat every time, even if the child is not in the back of the car with you, because it's kind of like your muscle memory. So you're going to open up that back door before
Well,
you go into the office.
a lot of times too, the tragedies you hear about are when dad is taking the baby to childcare instead of mom, and he's not used to having the baby in the back in the car seat. Maybe it's a rear facing car seat and the baby's fallen asleep, so not making any noise, and it's an unusual situation. So to put his briefcase or his cell phone or something of that nature next to the baby car seat is a pretty good way. Or just getting in the habit of checking in the back, like you said, check before you lock, because what harm will it do you if you look back there and you don't have the baby or the little child that day? It won't do
Right.
any harm at all. But every year we read and hear about the tragedies of children who were left in the car for anywhere from a couple hours to the full day. I remember hearing a story about a dad, again, who came out of the office at the end of the day, and only then realized that he'd forgotten to drop his child off at childcare. So that's devastating.
Mhm.
So one of the other things that we haven't even touched on is safety when it comes to furniture. And I'm seeing more and more in the furniture stores new signs that are next to where you purchase the furniture saying, remember to attach this bookcase or this bureau to the wall if you have small children. Now, I know this is something that's been talked about before, but I've just never seen the furniture stores taking such an active role before.
Mhm. Right. I think because they've just become more aware that it is occurring and it is happening.
And parents need to realize that, you know, if you're bringing in a bookcase or a desk or an entertainment center and you think you're going to wait until your baby or your little kid starts being more mobile before you attach it to the wall, that they could surprise you at any day, you know, and start, you know, walking, or if they're just beginning to walk, they're using furniture to pull themselves up with.
Mhm.
And so that creates even more of a dangerous situation.
Right. They always need to make sure that it's attached to the wall.
And what are some of the other, we just have a couple more minutes, right, Cliff? Yeah, one more minute. Okay, so to wind it up, there's fire safety information, there's child safety information, there's hurricane safety information, and then there's a lot of fun and exciting videos and little tests and things for seniors, seeing things for kids, and it's all on your website. So Stacy,
Yes.
thank you for giving us a little tour of
You're
the
very
website,
welcome.
and also talking to us a little bit about how easy it is to set up a Google Classroom. So I'm kind of tempted to go and do something like that right now.
Oh, you should.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Again, Stacy Carter is the public educator with the St. Lucie County Fire District. And she mentioned several events that the fire district will be at in the upcoming months. So you can see her there, or you can give her a call or visit the website or Facebook page or social media, St. Lucie County Fire District. Thank you so much for joining me, Stacy. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And this is WPSL Port St. Lucie.